Hey everyone, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast, and I want to talk about Mark Millar and his announcement. He posted this image on Twitter, which is some notes with some artists. Among them are Frank Quietly, and plus more, and so many books, all awesome. First one launches 4 weeks after Jupiter's Legacy season 1 on Netflix. Everything, and this is the essence of it, everything is linked to Netflix. Have a cool Yule. So I want to get into this because this is the solution, but it's also the problem with comics. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Before we get into that, Fatal is on Indiegogo. Check it out. Beautiful, beautiful comic book. Fantastic work. And let's see. I was actually just working on this last weekend. It was pretty fun to kind of get into it, and I'm actually taking some time off to do some of this kind of stuff to get all my ducks in a row for comics. Anyway, we're obnoxiously close to $90,000. Help us by backing it. Get us to that 90K. Everyone's books will get improved with the nicer spine, and then on to 100K because that's a big deal. Also, so an update with Downcast. I'm trying to be quick about this. This campaign, Downcast Rise and Fall, is going to be closing. It's going to be closing at the end of the month, the end of the year, 2020. I'm closing this. Partially because these books have basically sold out. I don't have many left. I'm going to hang on to what I have left or maybe throw them up on eBay. But this is your last chance essentially to get this because Downcast is going to Alterna Comics, and I want this to be the focus of where you get Downcast. Now, there are some people I've seen, I think, conspiracy theories, craziness surrounding Downcast. I don't understand it, but people will complain and say, "Why are you charging so much for a trade paperback for crowdfunded books?" And I would say I'm not. I mean, the first book was $15, the second one was $20, and it was a bigger book. They're really nice books too. This is for you. If you just want to read the story in a cheap, affordable format, you still want a print comic, this is your option. Downcast, $1.99. This is issue number 1. It's not the whole first book. This is basically it's the first issue. You got 26 pages, I think, in this particular issue. This is Downcast number 1. Each one is going to be $1.99 going forward. And when I say going forward, I mean going forward. I'm really leaning into this being a comic book series. I've invested and I've put some risk in, my own personal risk into making a proof of concept that you can launch the trade paperback and then later move into single issues. And my goal is to make it an ongoing series. And when I say ongoing series, I mean the first 4 issues are already finished because if you've backed it, you basically have, it's book number 1 is broken up into 2 books. Book number 2 is broken up into 2 books. Book number 3 is going to have 3 books plus backup stories. Here's your sneak peek. That was Downcast number 5. And we're going to have number 6 and number 7, and those are going to be combined in the next Indiegogo campaign, along with some backup stories that you're not going to get anywhere else other than that. And so we're making trade paperbacks first, comics later, and I've really leaned into creatively making this an ongoing series. So while at the same time, this is a perfect segue. At the same time, I'm leaning into making a comic series because comics are awesome. At the same time, there are many creators in comics. I get it. You're trying to make a living doing art, and comics just aren't paying the bills. So what the solution has been, and what is increasingly becoming, it's make a comic book. It's your loss lead, is that what they call it? Loss leader. And then you turn that into a Netflix series. And if you get that Netflix series or you get that movie deal, you're good to go. You're golden. Now you can finally make some real money. That's what it has turned into. And so here's Mark Millar. He posted this saying that in 2021 through 2020, he's got a whole bunch of books coming out. He's got artists like Frank Quietly. He's making books, but they're also Netflix series, and this is all owned by Netflix, which is kind of maddening. So here's why I think this is hurting comics, because comics have become basically a pitch platform for a TV series. And so if you go knowing, hey, comics are there, it's just this throwaway thing that I can make and sort of prove that there's an audience out there for my story. I basically pitching my story idea, and then I can tell everyone is a successful comic book out there. So now I can turn it around and make a Netflix series. Why do people want to read the comic books if they can just watch the Netflix series? If it's so tailored, especially to Netflix, like that's the end goal. Why not watch the finished product? Versus, I've been reading through this Frank Miller run, his entire run on Daredevil, which has been absolutely fun. But you could not fully convert that into a Netflix series. I realize that there's a Netflix series that has drawn from some of Frank Miller's run, but not really. Like, if you want to get Frank Miller's run, you're going to have to just read it, because it's just not suited for Netflix as is. It would be, I would just have to cover so much territory. The book is better. Because it just can't. The comic does what cannot be done elsewhere. So if you're going to do a 4-issue miniseries that's totally made to become a Netflix series, it's just not. I don't know. I think you're missing out on what comics do best. That's my point. But I get it. I get it, because Frank Quietly probably has made some good money in comics as far as comic book artists go. Where is there to move? How do you move up from there? Especially when sales don't dictate it, especially when there aren't enough comic book readers. We need more comic book readers, people that are interested in the medium itself. There aren't enough to afford, for artists to afford, unless they're taking great personal sacrifice to make comics. I mean, there are a few, but are they just going to draw everything? I don't know. So becomes the solution, but this is also the problem. Anyway, that's my point. So what I would wish would happen is there'd be a little bit more focus on making comics for the sake of making comics. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and that's why I'm doing Downcast as a proof of concept. If Downcast works, guys, I want to do something a little bit bigger, a little bit. I want to do something else, but I have to prove that this works. I have to show that it can work and it can be sustainable. The article doesn't really mean anything. You get everything you need right here. I give up on the stupid article. Anyway, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you excited about any of this happening in the Miller World books? I mean, there could be some good stuff. It's the intention behind it that I have a problem with. Tell me why I'm wrong. Don't forget to check out Downcast on alternateaccess.com. It's only $1.99 for issue number 1. And this is closing. And check out Fate. It'll help us get to that 90K stretch goal. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.